I'm online. Okay. So, hi everybody. This session will be in English as the last ones. The reason for that is that we have a few members that are not Bulgarian speaking. We have one of them even here. There you go. And some of them are actually online. Some of them are watching us from Germany. Some of them are watching us from US, from Bolivia right now. So, and there you go. Hi. Thank you all for coming. It's really a great pleasure to see so many people. I didn't expect so many, to be honest, right? The topic today is totally different from what we usually have at the club, which is more financial, which is more connected to numbers, investment, wealth management, and basically how we manage to deal with the material part of the financial freedom, right? Today we'll be speaking about the part that is more about the freedom, which is usually between the years. So in your head, how you basically perceive how much is enough and what you actually need to be free. As such, today we have a great guest for me, Antonia Teneva, Tony, who is actually one of my greatest spiritual teachers ever. And I'm so grateful that she took the time and the effort to come here. So please applaud her for being here.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you very much. Such a great announcement. Yeah. First, I want to apologize of everybody who are native speaking English, because I'm speaking English, but yes, like average. But anyway, it's more important to speak from the heart and to understand each other. So I hope this meeting will be exactly like this. Thank you very much, Borko, for inviting me here. And thank you very much for coming here. It's also a surprise for me how many people are interested to come here today. And it's a really honor and privilege for me to be here with you. So yes, the topic of the club is very interesting. I think we can find some links between yes, the themes that I'm deep in now. Maybe to say a few words.
On the microphone or like, okay. So basically, I'll make the connection straight away, right? I mean, the topic of the club is financial freedom, which says like, in the material world, for us to be free, you need to have the basis for that. In the material world, it's a material thing that you need, right? And basically, we've discussed this with Tony. Actually, if we take the soul as our core essence, the goal of the soul is to be free, right? And you can be free in the spiritual world, but again, we are also a combination, and right now we are in the material. So we need to be free in the material world. And for the material world, you need finance, you need money, you need wealth, right? And again, to get there, it's also connected to your ways of taking decisions, of your ways of learning all the time, and how you react to your environment and what the environment throws at you, right? We are not living in the caves anymore, at least most of us don't. And basically, we have to deal with different type of stressors. Before, we had to deal with a tiger, with the hostile tribe from the other side of the woods, right? Today, we have to deal with if the salary doesn't come on time, if the let's say the rent is increased, or we lose our job, or your kid wants to go to a private school, whatever it is, right? And the thing is how you deal with all these things, or you want to invest, like a very good friend of mine here, from whom I've learned a lot, with the one with the red t-shirt here. Yeah, exactly. So Vladi, like we've discussed this many times, right? If it doesn't matter how many finance books you've read, right? Because he's read a lot, right? But I don't think he knew anything about really doing investing 10 or 15 years ago, because what really matters is time on the market. Seeing your money shrink, seeing your money disappear if you go to crypto, for instance, or you go to venture capital, like just like that, gone, right? Or you see like 40% downturn. Like, how do you react to that? And this is part of how we connect this, right? So knowing like what is the let's say the name of the company you want to invest, or what are the financial, it's good. But the thing is, actually, finance is a behavioral science. And these are some of the topics we'll be covering today. So I think this is a good bridge now.
Absolutely.
Probably if you say a few words, because I want to connect to what you are actually with my first question.
So, few words about me. I really try to build bridges, especially late years, because by education I'm a medical doctor. I spent 6 years in the medicine in the beginning, and I was anesthesiologist. Again, little bit spiritual, close to the big guy up there, negotiating for the life. Then my journey took me into the corporate world. I spent 24 years in the pharma industry, in a big international
You were
company.
a big boss, say it, come on. You were a very big boss.
Okay, so different type of positions, but yes, last 16 years I was the sales director for Bulgaria. And 1 year now, I left this company and this position, and I still keep a bridge with the corporate world, because now I'm developing training, leadership academies, and etc. And but also in parallel from years, I start to dive a little bit deeper, and my absolutely curiosity in the beginning, and a big interest to the spiritual matters. So currently I'm reading Akashic records, and I'm also doing ancestral therapy with the history of our ancestors. And it is a very, very wide field, big topics also. And for me, more and more is this concept very important, how to link the two, as you start in the beginning, the material world and the spiritual one, because we are human beings and we are very complex beings. And in fact, it is not only the body. And it's more and more even proven by the science today that, in fact, it's the root cause of the way we are living and the experiences we have in our life. It's really depending on a lot of factors. And sometimes we even don't know them. Sometimes even we don't think about them. And sometimes we don't allow ourselves to give the space, the time to reconnect with us more deeper, to understand what is important for us, and etc. Because finally, this is what is the life about being free, about being happy, about being satisfied. And this is the primary goal that we are coming with in this earth. Then we enter in the life, we enter in the society, and we enter in a frames, and we start to run after goals and after things that we think are important. And in a certain moment, we understand that we are on a certain level in the society. We have a good job, we have a good car, so we have things that we think that we have to have. But in the same time, we are somehow not very happy, not very satisfied, maybe sick sometime, and etc. And the things are combined. It's not only the factors from the environment. It is something deep in us that is not very good. And my really goal and my job now, it's really to try to go deeper, to find the deeper causes. And of course, I will never cut with my connection with the medicine. Also, there is a lot of studies, a lot of proofs, how our brain is functioning. And this is also very important to understand this and to regulate, and to help us to regulate our behaviors, like Boyko said in the beginning.
So here I would like to connect to all what that you said right now. For me, it's very interesting how you basically move from the, let's say, the fact-based and the study-based medicine and all the sciences, which like true science is based on facts and studying and really having something that is provable, let's say. And then we go to the spiritual world where most of the thing is felt. And for me right now, like I can say how I do it. For me, like if you ask me like 3 years ago, I would say there's no spiritual world. I have no soul. Don't give me this shit. It's gone. Right now, like so many things happen with me, and I'm a true believer. I believe in God. I believe in the Holy Spirit. I'm not religious at all. I respect all of the deities. It's fine with me. Just I'm just spiritual. But like for me, not having explanation for something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Because if you think of it, like 800 years ago, most of the people thought that Earth is flat. There are still some flat earthers today. I give them respect, but like study shows that it's most of it is like round. It's like a ball. And then 200 years ago, we thought that like the Earth is spinning around, like sun is spinning around the Earth, and right now we know it's exactly the opposite. So how do we know that we know everything today? How do we know that everything is proven? We can't know this. I don't think we can know this. Like for billions of years, there's been Earth and space and whatever, and we have like, I don't know, some science for the last 4,000 or 5,000 years. I don't know if you believe in ancients, probably 10,000 years, whatever it is. Like we can't know. This is at least my opinion. But how do you do it? How do you explain it for yourself?
Yes, it's very interesting. By the way, in the medicine now, everything is based evidence medicine. This is the flagman of the way the medicine is developing now. Everything has to be proven 100 times in different studies, in different ways, guidelines, very strict one to follow when you choose the therapy and etc., and to choose only the proof things and etc. Okay, it's absolutely. By the way, the medicine is one of the most conservative sciences, and thanks God is like this, because nobody wants someone to experiment all the time on his
Human life, right?
human life. Yes. And still, it was never like today. We have so many advanced technologies in the medicine. We have so many new invented therapies. And maybe even now someone is registering one new therapy and etc. And everything of these therapies are proven. And they show percentages of improving this condition or this condition. But still, on the other side, is the other statistics that they are raising the cardiovascular events, the metabolic disorders, the depression, the anxiety, everything. The people are still sick and even more sicker than before, if we can say. Yes, the life is prolonged with few years, the average human life. But still, we are missing something. And that's why all the time I'm asking myself and my colleagues and people that we are talking about, why? If we think about technologies and progress and the science, everything has to be done these years, not to have diseases, not to have sick people, and etc. The environment is more and more complex, but also part of these things that are calling spiritual and esoteric, they are proved already by the science. And for example, because I am also entering in the therapy with the ancestors, it's proven that stress is causing damages that you are delivering to the generations.
Through your genes, basically, they turn on and off different parts of the
Of
genes.
course, yes. And we are talking here about the epigenetics because it is not changing the DNA. It is changing the way the DNA is expressed. And I will give you an example. First one is, for example, with animals. It is with mice, of course. And the experiment is the follow. They give a shock to the mice, and they give aromas of cherry blossom. And it's obvious that next generation start to show stress and all the, in fact, hormones that they follow, and blood tests show the raise of the stress hormones and etc. of the generation that is coming after. They don't give them electric shock. They give only the blossom of the cherry aroma. And they start to trepere.
They had tremble. They start to tremble.
Yes, and even they are in a stupor. Moreover, the next generation also, generation 3, they never met the shock of the electricity. They never experienced this, but they show these raised hormones, raised blood parameters with the stress and the symptoms of the stress. And the 4th generation also. So you can imagine, you never met this, but you inherited the way you are reacting on the stress. And you will say, okay, these are with the animals, etc. But it's also proven with the human beings. And lately, in 2025, for example, there is a study with the fugitives that are from the war, Syrian families, and etc. And they find, because they lived in a violence, in a very huge, so you can imagine if you have to run with your kids and etc., you are very stressed about your life. This is very big danger. And they find also markers on the DNA in the 3 consecutive generations about this, because the DNA, may I use this?
Yes, please.
Yes.
It's for you, actually.
Thank
I
you.
prepared it for you.
In each of our cells, we have a 2-meter DNA. Can you imagine? In the cell that is microscopic, to have 2-meter DNA. And we have billions of cells. And if you calculate our DNA, you can go from here to the sun 250 times. It's so long. So how this DNA is packed in the cell? And it is like a knit. You like imagine? Yeah. The DNA is like this. And this name is histone. And in fact, the genes that are more superficially positioned are expressed. They are available and they are live and we can see. But the ones that are deeper inside in the ball, they are not visible and they are not expressed. And when you go through a stress conditions and you experience, of course, we're talking about a stress. So then if you have this ball like this, these genes are not expressed. Only these genes are expressed. Under the stress condition, when the stress is causing a specific hormonal and metabolic, in fact, changes in our body, and it is also proven, and you can follow with the blood tests and everything. There is a specific methylation. It's the process. So it's coming here. And then this histone start to be like this. And some genes from here, they start to pop up. And now we transfer this to the next generation, to the next generation, and to the next generation. And the generation is inherited how we are reacting on the stress. The DNA is the same. We don't change the genes, but the expression is very different. And it is absolutely proven. So the ancestor therapy is also not esoteric. There is a big science behind already about this. And there are a lot of other studies also that are showing this. There are studies about the victims from the Holocaust. 4 generations are with the 60% higher depression rate and suicides. They never experience, these people, the stress itself. After the other studies about the Netherlands, the hunger winter during the Second War, they didn't have what to eat. They rarely survive. 3-4 generations after, it's not all, they don't live in the same conditions. The food is everywhere. And this is the diabetes coming. This is all the metabolic syndrome are coming. Also, all the other disorders are coming. So it's sometimes we say about something that it is esoteric or spiritual, but in fact, there is a lot of science already behind.
I can completely agree, and I can connect to that.
And this is one example. There are a lot of other, especially in the neuroscience, that you start to mention.
I'll give an example on the term of psychology, how you have actually ancestral trauma. Like I had this experience probably 10 days ago. It's something that my mother did during my childhood, a certain behavior that was pretty painful to me. And at a certain moment, like through our mutual work, through different practices I've done, I discovered this, and I said, okay, this is not okay. I forgive everything that's been up to here, because we've talked with you like our parents did their best, but I also talked to my mother, said, okay, this is not okay what you're doing. I should not do it from now on. I would not accept it. And then this happened actually with my kids, so with her grandkids, exactly the same behavior. And this is where I cut, this is not going to work. I said, okay, you have to change this, because I don't want you to transfer this to my kids. And this is how ancestral trauma is actually given forward. Like, it's through behavior, it's through beliefs, right? It's okay, what you're saying, completely true, but again, also psychology, like, right? It's like how we behave is what we give to our children and grandchildren, and what our parents inherited from their parents and their parents and their parents. And they did their best. Okay, it's fine, but it's never too late to change. And when you know it there, it's our job to change it. I just wanted to connect that it's not only this, but it's also psychological.
Absolutely. It's even more psychological. But the thing that I'm taking from this is that we can change. And this is really one very fundamental understanding, that it is also kind of, how to say, we have really to believe in this. If you want to change, we can change. And it is our biological code that change. It is not anymore, it's not done when we are born and everything is done. When I finished my university and I am graduated, it was more than 30 years ago, let's say, okay, but that time we believe, for example, for the neuro cells that they are like you born with such a number and bunch with the neurocells, and they don't recover. And it was even a lot of jokes. oh, okay, stay calm, don't waste your neural cells, they will not be replaced, and etc. But today, the science is saying completely the opposite. We can change, we can rewire our brain totally, because exactly this is calling neuroplasticity. To be able to build new neuron pathways in our brain after different new learnings and new experiences. And in fact, this is in the base of the neuroscience. But for this, we have first to have a lot of awareness and a lot of focus on the topic, and
discipline.
that yes, there are few principles about the neuroplasticity that can help us really to rewire our brain, but this is another very deep topic and very long
No,
topic.
but I think it's a very good connection to the next topic, which is neuroplasticity. And my question would be like, because it gets thrown around a lot, and I can give you something that I experienced during the last 2 years, which was like, I've been through depression, I've been before that through burnout, and when I look through the biochemical expression of depression, what it actually is, it's actually when neurons and the synapses basically lose their plasticity, which means their ability to build new connections, to fire new electrons, and to build these new connections, and basically you get stuck. So it's a negative loop that you build on your own, and the more coffee, alcohol, cigarettes, and stress you have, the more you basically cement this, and the less agile you are to get out of this loop. So you basically lose your neuroplasticity. And here is my, like, would be interesting for you to say, like, it gets thrown around, but what do we get wrong about neuroplasticity? Like this is how we learn, this is how we change.
Absolutely. This is the way how also we are thinking and how we build our way of thinking. So first of all, yes, maybe all of you know, our brain is built from neurons. There are more than 100 billion neurons in our brain. Can you imagine? This is like the stars in our galaxy. And our thoughts, in fact, and our behavior patterns are formed when few neurons start to connect. We are calling this fire, neuron with neuron, and this is a neuron pathway. This is how we are building our networking in our brain. And there are a few principles that are very, very important. First of all, it is that when they fire together, they wire together. You form a knit. If you repeat this thought, let's say, then this small pathway, imagine the brain like a jungle, all these 100 billion neurons. And when you form the pathway, when the neurons are firing. If you repeat this pathway became stronger. And if you continue to repeat, it stays like a highway. And these are the highways of our habits that we are living, in fact. Because what we are repeating, this we are living. And there is one very interesting study from Canada, from the University of Queens. And they studied these neuron pathways and the thoughts. And in fact, they find that we can have around 70,000 thoughts per day. Can you imagine this? We are blinking 25,000 per day. In each blink, we can generate 3 thoughts. But the other thing also that they find, that 95% of these thoughts, 95% of these thoughts are the same like yesterday, and the day before, and the day before, and the day before. And the most frightening thing is that 65% of these thoughts are negative. So now you can imagine why it's so difficult to change. Why, when you have a built pattern, inherited or built it from our in our life from different circumstances or past experiences, it's so difficult to change and to build other new pathways. And that's why I told that it's really required efforts and consciousness.
To switch off the autopilot.
And this is very interesting, also another topic about the consciousness. Because the human being is the only one that have this part of the brain, the neocortex, that is dedicated on these high cognitive functions, thinking, calculating, learning, reading, talking, and etc. And how do we use our gift, the neocortex, is the question. Because there is one other theory about the triune brain. I don't know how do you familiar or not. In a few words, I'll try to make it very short.
This will be a good bridge to the next topic.
Actually. Yes, but yeah, because I want to link it because we're talking about the thinking. So evolutionary, the parts of our brain are consisting all the brains of all the creatures that in fact live in the earth. The same structures we are keeping. So in our brain, we have all the evolution of the earth. And the first brain is the reptile brain. This structure formed when the reptiles appeared in the earth, 400 million years ago. And this is our small brain. It's here. So it's responsible for our surviving. He knows only here and now. He knows, am I hungry or not? Is it cold or is it hot? Is it safe? So here we talk about instincts. And only thing which is important for this brain is to survive. And it is switched on 24/7.
And reproduce.
Never sleep. Never sleep. Then they came the mammals. And we formed the mammal brain. $60 million years ago. And they came. Do you have pets at home? Who has pets at home? Do they love you?
Good.
Mm-hmm. And you love them. And because of that, you are keeping them. So the mammal brain is coming with the emotion. Here is the limbic system. Here is the amygdala. Here are all the other components of our brain deep behind here that are producing the emotions, the feelings of belonging, the animals to be part of the pride. This is, in fact, very important. And finally, recently, only 3 million years, it comes the neocortex. It's very smart, this one. And here, as I said, I'm sorry, high cognitive function, thinking, calculating, learning, studying, the imagination. These, they don't have imagination. They know here and now. This one can project in the future. He is knowing the past. He is remembering the past. And you can picturize your dreams and etc. thanks to the neocortex. and you can think about the figures about your finances and etc. This is due to the neocortex. Where is the problem? These two guys, they spent more than 60 million years together. They are very well packed and very well working together. And this is exactly the system 1. And the new one, the new guy, we are calling the system 2. These two are very fast. And this one is slow. Because you have immediately feeling about the sense. Why did you stop the air conditioning? It starts to be cold and you react immediately. And you know what is the temperature immediately. But if I ask you to calculate what is 262 million multiplied by 403 and etc., it will take time, even with a calculator. You will need time because this is the guy that needs time. And now I'm asking you, when you are taking decisions, taking into consideration these things that we discussed, who is the boss? Who is taking the decision? How do you take decisions?
So is there a third way?
The woman.
The one. Good answer. Okay.
Depends on the situation. If you're under stress or in an emotional
Basically,
conversation,
It's always system one.
it's always system one.
It's always system
you
1.
have emotion, then you have thought.
It's always system 1. It's faster. And we are thinking that we are thinking. And in fact, exactly this find Daniel Kahneman. And he's a Nobel Prize winner. He's psychologist, he's Nobel Prize winner in economy because he integrated his findings from psychology in the economy. And in order this one to do the job, these two has to be calm. So they are scanning all the time the environment. They are looking, they are finding for some risks, for some danger things, because we have to survive. And this one cannot work. The only thing this one can work is when these two guys are calm. And the stress levels are low. Otherwise, you just think that you think.
Basically, this is what the science says. This when you have information flood and you have emotions or you have stress, you basically shut down the neocortex.
Absolutely.
And the only one that works is actually the reptile, in best case mammal, but mostly reptile. So basically, if there's stress, number 2 is off. And here actually would be interesting to go deeper, because this has very, very, very strong application in finance and investing. Like the simple example is fire sale of your assets because the price is going down. And your system 1 is saying, okay, danger, 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 you're losing your savings for the last 10 years, danger, danger, do something, right? And the thing is, because you're saying these two guys need to be calm so that the neocortex is working. How we do that? How do we get there? How do we help ourselves being financially free? How do we stop doing or do less more emotional or more instinctive things and do more thinking when managing our wealth?
In fact, this is very simple. And it is all the techniques that we know about the mindfulness, because this is the only way to calm down the reptile and the mammal brain and to allow the neocortex to work. And yes, also there is a skepticism. How many of you go to sport? At least 1 or 2 times during the week. Okay, a lot of hands, yeah. One session in the gym, it is about 1 hour, something like. So at least, let's assume at least 2 hours per week you are doing sport. Okay. How many of you are meditating 2 hours per week?
Not the gut.
3 people maybe. Okay.
So not so much financial freedom.
So if you want to use our neocortex more properly, this is a must. And it's not, again, it's not spiritual. It's not spiritual. It's also proved. And it is proved with high quality surveys and studies with fMRI. This is functional magnetic resonance. MRI. It is MRI, yes, in English, yeah, but it is a resonance specific exam of the brain, and you can see which parts of the brain are lightening and how they are working. And if you do 2 months meditation every day, but it's in the study for 30 minutes, in fact, they observe that first of all, you have less activity of the amygdala. It starts to calm down, and higher activity of the neocortex. And moreover, it's not only functional, the changes. They are also structural, because they observe that you increase the mass of the gray matter in the brain.
The prefrontal cortex gets bigger.
And the gray matter. So you have functional and structural changes in the brain proven with the latest high technology exam due to the meditation. And in fact, this allows you, also because they follow a lot of markers, we don't go deeper, better focus. In fact, better decision-making processes and better well-being in general. And it's not so complicated to meditate. In fact, what is a meditation? Breathing. This is the most simple way to calm down these 2 guys. How many days you can stay without food? Week? Even
Without food, a month.
Food, even more. How many days we can stay without water?
A week.
Okay, now I'm asking you, 3 days. Stop to breathe.
1 minute.
3. Yes, this is the simplest mechanism. We are coming with the first breath and we're passing away with the last one. The nature gives us the easiest way to control and to regulate. Why the deep breathing? It is giving us, again, the calmness. First of all, more oxygen is circulating in the blood, going to the tissues, activating the other system, not the sympathetic system, which is responsible for the stress, but the other one, the parasympathetic system. And we start to calm down. There are so many techniques to breathe. The simplest one is this quadrant breathing. Inhale, counting to 4. Let's do the exercise. Slowly, inhale, counting to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just 2 rounds. What is the state now? Comparing to a few minutes ago, at least a little bit different. If you do it this regularly, it's giving even better results. Then the other thing, the eye. In fact, our brain It's very, very lazy. He's thinking all the time for the shortcuts, how he can decrease the energy he's spending about all the functions that we push it to do it. And we receive so many through the eye. The eye nerve is directly linked with the reptile brain. This is the shortest way, the shortest nerve in the neurosystem. And that's why, even if you close the eyes for 10 minutes per day, doing nothing, it's enough to calm down again the reptile and the amygdala. So breathe, close the eyes, and you are already meditating. You don't need to go to the yoga room to sit like this, to shouting Om and etc. You can do it in the office. You can do it in between the meetings. Just give you space, little bit, and do it every day.
If you allow, like to many of you, I've forwarded a book. It's called Positive Intelligence. And there you have these micro meditations, which are like 2-minute meditations, right? You can basically do them between meetings. But here I want to say two fun, not paragraphs, but two fun thoughts that I have actually. One is from Charlie Munger. I love it. It's simple, but not easy. Because it's like, I mean, right now we're talking, it sounds very easy, but when the day comes and we have the thousands of things, and this is again our routine, this is how we think, it's very difficult to get out of this routine, to switch off the pilot.
From the highway to build a new pathway in the jungle, it's difficult.
Exactly. So that's why I say it sounds simple, but it's not easy. And a very good friend of mine, actually, Tim knows him very well. His name is Christo. He's saying a very good thing. It's like you're saying, okay, he says you have to meditate 10 minutes a day. And you say, but I'm very busy. If you're very busy, then 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
So basically, it's never enough. And the thing is, like, we have to do it every day. So it really has influence on our lives. And I think this was very, very useful what we will discuss here. But basically, it goes about this. Our autopilot are these two brains, and the more happiness we want to have, the more we want to control our lives, the more we have to give power to the newest brain, so what is here, right? But to give more, like, we just need to calm them down and just to give the space for that to work out, and to calm them down. Actually, this exercise is meditation, as you said, right? I give an example. I do. Due to my history, I do 3 types of meditations, not one. I do 3 because I cannot calm them down. It's not that I'm so great. I'm actually so buggy that basically I need to do 3 types of meditation. It works after the 3rd one.
It's very individual, but like you mentioned, it's very challenging to do it because you have to create a new schedule for us, a new habit. And this comes the principles of neuroplasticity, because creating new habit means to create a new pathway. The neuroplasticity, for example, is observed also when you have injury of the brain. After stroke, for example, you lose some functions, but then you can restore them if you are lucky, and if you have a good teacher for you to restore some functions. But it proves that even when you have morphological injuries, you can restore them, and that the neuroplasticity is working. But there are a few principles that we have to follow. And a first one is, for example, use it or lose it. Because if you create a new path in the jungle and you do it once and you don't use this, or you have a path and you don't use this path, the jungle starts to come up again and you lose the path. The second one is that it has to be specific. So if you try to restore after the stroke the micro movements of the head, and you want to learn again how to write, It doesn't matter if you exercise other physical activities. You can walk, you can do something, but if you don't practice exactly the writing, you will not restore the writing and the very fine movements of the hand. And this is the same. If you want to make wood crafting, it doesn't mean that if you know how to rubber the trees, you will make a nice wood crafting. You have to practice exactly this specific thing that you want to develop and to restore. The other one is the repetition, of course, that it's consider the brain like a muscle. You have to go to the gym, and it's not coming with one training, this nice muscles and etc. You have to repeat them, to repeat in order to obtain this effect. And the other one is the intensity. So we have to do it regularly with quite intense. So you cannot have these muscles when you do the exercise with 1 kilo. Maybe you need more in order really to have, so to be more intense the training. And here is the same. And the last, sorry, but not the least, it is maybe the most important. Make it meaningful. It has to be meaningful for you, the thing that you want to develop, because otherwise everything else is priority. This is dropping down and it's closed, the new pathway.
I have a question on this part, because theoretically there is a lot of research showing that only positive affirmations by themselves, just the wording, if you say to yourself in the mirror, you're confident, I love you, you're great today, and everything, it looks like there are data showing that this works. But from your practice, I'm curious to know, only affirmations, just the words by themselves, do they have a real impact on the brain plasticity, or they need to really be supported by some form of action or behavior, or just words are enough to create this new changes in thinking?
Thank you very much for this question, because it's really, now it's very modern. In all the social media, there are a lot of exercises with affirmations, visualizations, and etc., which is absolutely normal, okay. And it's really work. It's really work. But there are a few things that we have to know. First of all, the repetition, it's very important, as we discussed. And even the repetition is doing something. Even the repetition is doing something, because you use the voice in order to say the words. They pass through the brain anyway, somehow, yes. But it's not always enough. It's not always enough. When you miss the faith and the belief behind, because the beliefs are the things that are pulling us on the old pathways. And if they are enough strong, and usually they are enough strong, we are staying again in the old model. So again, first is the awareness, the consciousness to understand why you want to change this, why this happens, and etc. Second, you can have a lot of affirmations, but if you still don't change the belief, and you still have the fear, and you still have the guilt, and you still have these feelings, you activate this. And the words up there stopping to work. And then you mentioned very good thing, the action. We need a proof that something is happening. And here are coming all the rituals. They are done because of this, because somehow we are linking these changes in the mind and in our beliefs with some actions. You put your candle, you prepare everything around. And this is also through the brain giving. So you have these conditions, so you feel good, so everything is okay. So you send messages by the rituality, you send messages. So I'm absolutely appreciating to have rituals for everything, in the morning, in the office, in the all relationships that we have, to build some kind of small things like this, because they gives us this calmness. And this is this message to the reptile. Okay, calm down. This means you are okay. You are building the environment that is sending this message to you in order the other one to start to do the job.
I'll just give you the word just a second, just to connect to that. I think it's interesting. Through our practices that I've done with Tony, we know each other for like, I don't know, 2 years now, and one of the effects is that I'm repeating a mantra which I created. I've repeated some other mantras which are healing, but this one is my own one. And what I find out is basically the mantra sheds light on the things that you don't normally look at in your daily life. So things that you do that you just don't think about them, right? And it basically moves you to see, okay, you're talking in a way that you should not talk. You are expressing through your body languages things that you should not do. And here comes the focus and your intention if you want to change it. So basically the mantra shows you, puts your light there, and then if you have the intention and the discipline, you can change it. And depending on the type of person you are, you either do, or you basically say, okay, I just don't want to do it. I don't have the power. I don't want to use whatever it is, right? But in my experience is like the mantra or these repetitions, they put the light, the spot on there, and it's your decision, intention, and power to change it. And one more thing, which I think is very good to connect to, again, to the financial part of what we're discussing right now.
Yes, please make this connection.
I don't know if no, I think everything is connected.
Absolutely,
It's extremely interesting. And I think here, I don't know if you've read the autobiography of Warren Buffett, but it's all through the book. If you look at his life is extremely boring. Like Warren Buffett has had one of the most boring lives in his, like, on earth, in his private life, in his daily routines. Why? He has discovered happiness. He eats McDonald's for 1,000 calories per day. He drinks Coca-Cola because he owns the shares, of course. But like, he has the same route. He drives the same car for 20 years. Like, he's one of the richest guys on earth. Why does he do that? He doesn't like change. He doesn't need change. Why? Because in his investment life, there's a shit show. Like, he's having some really hard times throughout his career. Like, he's been also entrepreneur. And he has chosen that this part here in his private life will come down, and he will use all his energy for investments. This is where his adventures are. And the thing is, if we have discovered our happiness in our private lives, then we can do really freely some other stuff. It could be, again, in your spiritual world if you want, whatever it is. But until you have discovered your happiness in your daily life, like also Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger say something that I should have read like 20 years ago, but it's too late. The most important decision for a man is the wife he chooses to stay by his side, right? And the thing is, like, all of these things will either give you calmness and give you really happiness,
Secure. When you feel
security,
secure,
right?
secure.
So you have the power to invest and deal with money, all the stress that comes, or being an entrepreneur. But you cannot have adventures in your private life where there is no calmness, and then you're, I don't know, changing partners every 6 weeks, whatever, and you have investments, and you're an entrepreneur, and you're having sports, and you want to be a champion, like, for instance, in boxing, whatever, right? It just doesn't work. So this was the small connection, and
Absolutely
the lady
agree.
here
Yeah.
in Lila.
I have a question
Yeah.
for Tony, and it's connected to to the last studies of ADHD, which is very modern and very common in, let's talk about adults, because they have their highways for decades. And there is arguing in the medicine world, either you just inherit it and it's done and you cannot do anything about it, or it's not done and you can do some things about that. And then there is the guy in between, for example, Paul Mate, who says you can do some things about it, but then you still have to take your meds. And the meds are the software, they're adding things that you're missing. And then the other people were saying, no, you can change the hardware, which is not enough neuroplastic and spots in your frontal cortex, which is taking care for the dopamine level. So at the age of, let's say, after 25, when you're already developed, what can you do if you have like your third generation with ADHD? Your ancestors are from the Holocaust survivors. Many of them have ADHD. You're born with that, and you're already 25, 30 something, and then what you do at this age?
First of all, this is really like an epidemic, pandemics, yeah, which is for me more linked really with the way of life that we have last decades, not exactly with the, how to say, it's more linked with the higher demand of the environment than really with the genetic injury. We spoke about that. This is a different expression. Definitely, all the people are resourceful to change and to find a way to change. And it's different level of efforts that we can put after this. And also there are too much, how to say, different understanding now about the focus of intention and about the priorities in life and everything like this. This is already a diagnosis. Even in Europe, it is absolutely proven diagnosis, and you can insist in your job place that you need specific conditions and etc., etc. So somewhere it's kind of overestimated, and there are people that are suffering. I don't deny. I don't say it's not true. Absolutely, but it's also the same again. All these people that now and kids are with the spectrum of autism and etc. It's more a mechanism again of surviving because of the ability of the people to cope with the reality and how to integrate into the environment. And you will find, when you talk with people like this, you will find a lot of things in the environment that they live and that they are really experience difficulties in order to come with the ADHD. They are not just, how to say, invalid, inability,
They're handicapped.
inability, yes.
Retard is a little bit different.
Yes.
It's also a result of the environment.
It's very much a result of environment. It's very much a result of environment and the ability to cope with the stress, because it's again about this inheritage of how we are facing the stress. And this is coming also from the previous generation, can come from the previous generation, like we said. But the learning and the environment that can support this and to help these people to be more able to integrate in the society, to do their job and to function very well, it's a question of how to say, to build this environment and to try to do it, because it's the same with the depression and everything. Yes, there are the dopamine levels and etc. Of course, it's very easy. You go to the doctor, prescription like this, you go, but you still don't feel very well after that, and it's still difficult to integrate in the society and everything that you have to function during the day. So it's not only the dopamine.
If you allow me, so one more question very quick,
So-
and then we continue with.
Just want to add something. It's like basically, if you have a coffee in one hand and a smartphone in the other hand, you have some degree of ADHD already. It's too much stimuli.
Too much overstimulating. That's why I said, yeah.
The brain signals if I'm tired or I'm not. So you're basically working through this.
The brain cannot process too many stimulus. The brain processes 3 to 6 stimulus in one at the same time. And now you can imagine how many we received these days and how many are receiving the kids, and this screen dependence that they develop and etc. And this is more dangerous than to everything else that we are
And
talking
don't forget
about.
what we said before. Like when you have oversupply of information, system 2 shuts down, and you
Switch
get
off.
to switch to system 1. So now, if you allow me, because we're a little bit behind time, and there are two
So-
more great areas that I would like really to discuss. Probably today we'll go a bit further, so we go a bit longer. So not 8:30. So I think 8:45, 9 will be done. So just for your planning, and then we have reserved the table at Borata, I think, right? Thank you so much. But there are two great areas that I would really like to discuss, and these, like, I'm itching right now to start them. Right? It's
Okay.
like, but you already talked about like ancestral that you basically pass it on, and here I would like to talk about ancestral therapy as a great area of as a topic, and for you, basically, it would be interesting to me to say, okay, we've heard about it, what it is, and then for me, as usual, I would like to experience or to hear, of course, no names, no data, but some specific case where you can show how this trauma or this
Reflect on
this reflects
this.
through the generations, not from my mama to me, but like through 2, 3, 4, 5 generations, how it looks like with something that's from your life that you had. Probably say a few words about the books that you write. I think they're great, like exactly on this topic. It will be also interesting to say the forum you'll be speaking at like 2 weeks from now. I have my ticket. And then it will be great also when we talk about these things, if this example, for instance, has something to do with money, like how basically our ancestors treated money, or they were ashamed of money or shameful in handling money, because this will connect very good to the topic. And then we will move to the topic afterwards, which is for me on my heart.
Okay, so doing short, I am certified from the school of Aida Markovska. Maybe some of us you know her. She established this school for the ancestor therapy in Bulgaria. And it's not 100% new set invented, because there are a lot of on this topic in Europe. Bert Hellinger and other authors who developed all these studies about the constellations, family constellations, and etc. The specific here is we are talking about Bulgaria and about our ancestors in Bulgaria, because it's little bit more specific, and especially in the part of the therapy, because when you're talking about the therapy, first we have the diagnose and then we have the therapy. So the diagnose here, it's linked very much with the history of the whole family and the ancestors in the family, not only the mother, the father, and the sisters and brother-in-law, etc., but at least 4 generations. It's mean you, your mother, father, then grandmother and grandfather, and grandmother and grandfather. And this is the vertical os, the vertical line of the generations. Also, we're talking about the horizontal line, which is all our that we are not blood connected, so we mean all our brothers, cousins, and etc. And then we have to find the information as much as we can about these people. And then after, you come to the therapist and start to discover what are the things behind your family. Why it's important? Because we talk about the inheriting all the things from our ancestors, but we are looking on this like a system. And the system, you know how it is functioning. You are one small part from the system. You experience all the influence of the system. And the system is sometimes dictating how you are living. We think that we are very strong individuals, that we are managing with our lives alone, and etc. But in fact, we are part of this system. You can go to the moon. You will be still part of the system, and you will experience the influence of this system. You can deny. You can say this doesn't matter, but still the system will influence your life. And in fact, we are trying to find how our ancestors spend their life. What are the history behind? It's not only the name, the day of birth, and the day of passing away. It's not only to build the ancestor tree and to put the names of the people, because it's important how do they live. And I'm giving you examples. You know, in the Balkans was never calm and quiet. There were wars. There were different social periods. I mean, during the communism, a lot when it comes, a lot of people lose their houses, their businesses, and etc. The government took everything from them, and it was very dramatic. In fact, you can imagine, maybe some of you have these stories in your families. If you know your grandfathers and mothers, when during the night it's cold outside, they come, they took you out of home, and with all your family. From now on, you don't have nothing. You don't know how you will live, where do you will live with your kids, how, from where you will take money, food, and etc. You lose everything for one night. You can imagine this. In fact, the number of cardiovascular events was very high during this time. A lot of people, they received stroke and heart attack, and they died during this. And it was taped in the genes how we answer to stressors like this. So your grandfather was in the war. He stayed nights in the
trenches,
in trenches, yes, scaring about his life. Your grandmother was alone years. She has to manage with the kids, with the all the job that has to be done in the house and with in the countryside and etc. and to find food and everything. So we don't know this. How many of you know the name of your grandmother? Grandmother.
Yes.
So the grandmother. Okay, very good. And also the grandfathers. If you ask now the kids, how many of them they know the names of the grandmothers and the grandmothers? They even sometimes they live in a totally different cities. They even don't call them on the phone because they are very busy with all the social networks and etc. So this knowledge is very important because we are living the scenario of our ancestors, in fact. And if it is unconscious, so we are living other lives. If we know, and if we know what happens, if you know the secrets, because the most dangerous thing in this system are the secrets, the things that we are not talking about. And we have this education. Don't say this, the other they don't have to know about this, keep it calm, and etc. Yes?
Okay, let's say we have done this, we know this, we read about it, we know 5, 6 generations behind all our.
Very
ancestors,
few
we know
people
it, and
know
what-
5 generations, believe me.
And then what we do with this information, we know it. And
The first thing is, again, the awareness. The second is the acceptance. Because the biggest challenge is because when we have some problems in the family, with the relationships in the family, the people are not talking in between them. They don't talk with their mother and their father, with their brothers, and they are arguing about apartments. You cannot imagine what kind of histories and stories there are in the different families. And in fact, after we know this, and after like each one trauma, the first thing is the awareness and to put the light on this in order to know, and then to accept, because you cannot deny your family. We think that we can cut, but we cannot. And it is not to fight with this.
If you allow me, just remark here. I'll just give you a personal example. I was raised by my mother. My father I saw him like once every 3 months, every 6 months, whatever. Many times with him was very painful experience, psychologically and physically. But I was raised with my mother, who had her ways of raising kids, ways of showing love, which is very unconventional. Let's put it this way, very unconventional. So I have my traumas a lot from my father, but mostly from my mother. And it took me quite some time to get over this and to accept that this is the person that gave me the trauma, but also gave me who I am today. The discipline, the focus, the way to resist in hardship, not to lose myself. Like, to accept that these are the people that gave you life and all the tools that brought you here. Okay, they gave you trauma, drama, whatever it is, but they're also the people that gave you all the good things, right? In your childhood, right? So what you're saying is like accepting this, but many of these things actually come from many generations before. So there you go, the politicians among us. Hello. And basically, many of the traumas that I experienced from her actually came from her father and the mother of her father, and so on.
And etc., etc. And also we are keeping both of our parents and grandparents and etc. in us. If we deny some of them, we deny ourselves. And this is one very common problem that the people are coming with. He said, I don't want to talk with my father, I don't keep connections with my father, and etc. He was very bad guy, he was alcoholic, blah, 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 blah. But he was your father. I know that it is challenging, and he's part of you. If you deny, he can do whatever we can imagine, even very bad things. But he gives you the life.
One thing, sorry to interrupt again, it's like, I suppose, I know some of you read Jung, like Carl Gustav Jung, and this is the shadow, basically. Like, these are the things that we don't know we have in our character, or we don't want to know that we have in our character. And again, I'm speaking from personal experience. I do have many of the traits my father had, although I did not have a great relationship with him. And I don't want to have many of these things, but I do have.
But even when we said, I will never do like my mother is doing, it comes time that we do exactly the same in other context, in other words, or with my father, the same example. So it's very often, but the people are coming really with a great, how to say, limitations in their life, and they try to find how to cope with this, and they come finally to try therapies like this. And also in this system, as I said, this, is the family, it is ruled by laws. There are 10 laws. And in fact, if these laws are broken somewhere, this brings instability in the system, and we start to experience some problems. It is the law for the law, the law for the order, and etc. For example, everyone has his order, and not by delivered, but by zachevane.
Inception. Inception.
But by inception, yes. For example, you can know that you are the second, but maybe your mother did an abortion and you are not the second. And then each line, there are 3 main lines in the family. Each line is coming with different goals in this life. For example, the first line, you know about the pervorodnia, the firstborn, the first line. He's coming, he usually is strong. He has to take care about everything. He's taking everything, usually, especially in the old times, but it's by purpose. Because if the parents are not alive, he has to take care about his sisters, everybody else, to take care about the house, about the field, about the countryside, about the business, and etc., etc. Then the second one is born for the world. He's usually the guy that don't want to stay in house. He want to travel. He is more artistic. He's with a different nature. He's more creative, and etc., etc. And the third one is born about the God. Usually the people that are in the third line are more open minds, more above the material things, and etc. They have more strong faith principles, and etc., etc. They accept more easy the things. They are more отдаващи, приемащи.
They receive and give.
Yes. And what is happening? The guy is coming, they have very bad relationships with his father, and etc. Because the father is a businessman, he has a strong job and business, he expecting his sons to follow him, he to be able to teach him how to rule the business, what to do, and etc., that he can explore even more, and blah, 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 blah. But the guy, in fact, it's obvious that he's not the first line. He's the second one, but he didn't know. And all the family is looking on him like he's the first one, and the expectations towards him are that he's the first one, but the guy is not this line. The guy is the second. He wants to go to surf, to ski, to travel. He's playing a guitar. He's painting and things like this and things like this. And he doesn't want to go in a business school, to stay in the office and to do the things 12 hours per day behind the computer, and etc., etc. And they have huge problem between the father and the son, and the non-understanding and difficulties in their relationships to build this.
If you allow me,
just a small example about the lines. This is one, for example, on the law. And also, if you miss the one before you, and it is don't know in the family, this is like energetic vacuum, let's say. First of all, the next one is coming with the guilt. You are not alive. I also don't have the right to live. And these usually have some difficulties and challenges and some depression episodes or something like this, because he has to respect the life of the one that is not existing. And this is really a big challenge for the next that it is coming. And he has also to take the задачите, the tasks, his own, but also of those that it is not existing. And there are a lot of things like this. But this is one very simple. This is just the one law. There are so many much others. And then about the therapy, your question. So what if I know?
Well,
Yes.
you respect the kid before you. You raise a candle for Christmas and for.
First
and
of all,
envelopes.
the simplest thing is to tell to everybody.
And let's say we've done this.
Hmm?
And then, I mean, my question.
It's not
I'm
very easy.
Excel-oriented person beyond also
It's not
spiritual.
very
So
easy
you know
to
things,
say
and then
this.
how you go to resolution? Like
Absolutely.
what to do with this information?
I understand you very well because because of this I go to these things
Yeah.
because I also want the resolutions of a lot of problems. Yes, there are a lot of different therapies, but there are more in this psychology way. First of all, it is the discussion. Even we call our people not patients or something, but I don't know how to translate dovernik, because trusty, because we have to build this respect and the guy to want to work on the topic. Then we have also here we are using a lot of Bulgarian traditional rituals, because our ancestors, they cope with their life with this. This is a knowledge that it is not scripted in the books. This is something that it goes through the generations, and they give this knowledge to next generation through the tradition, through the songs, through the dances, through everything this. So that's why the Bulgarian rituals are healing rituals. All the traditions that we have, in fact, even that we will do now tomorrow. This is not a Christian ritual, Kurban, for example.
Kurban, I think it's more like
Pagan.
pagan. I think so. I think it's more Muslim.
No.
Kurban.
The ritual it said that we are giving a life of the animal. Ritual in a ritual. Yes, языческий. No. Yeah, but it was done by purpose when the people want to ask for health, for child to come in the family, and for a very strong conditions, because you give a victim to ask something very important for you. It's not just like this. Now we know that we are going to the table and ordering in the restaurants. But before years it was not like that. And many others. Лазаруването, абсолютно всички това, което на български минавам, because I cannot explain in English.
I don't know it in English, but I would like to make a little bit left
because
turn.
it's for another
meeting
session maybe.
If you can, but very shortly, because I want to move to the next topic, and very shortly about money. And
for the money and the ancestors, I just wanted to say this. Yes, because there are 7 flows in the families. Flow of the love, flow of the luck, flow of the power, flow of the money is one of these. And for example, if we have in the ancestor, in our heritage, these traumas, that the money are bad, that your grandfather lost your money, lost your business, lost everything, and etc. Or they put them into the jail for something, and etc. And he experienced some very bad things. You will not make money. Usually, the people are coming with this problem about career development and earning money or developing money. because in fact you know subconsciously that the money are bad. You inherited exactly this, that in fact if you have money it will come something bad in your life. So very often I meet these things also with my people that I'm working with.
I have this example from my own life with my mother. Like, she was raised communist, like pure, like not like what we imagine right now, communism and autocracy and whatever. She believed in the idea of communism. So for her, having ownership was really not a good thing. And she inherited from her father, right? And having money was seen as bad. Like just if you get money, you have to earn it like the hard way. You have to work like your ass
lot.
off so you can get money. And if you get it, everything is being a crook if you make a lot of money just by, I don't know, doing something different than what everybody else. Cheating, yes, right? And here I think it's very important, because for me, I got to be entrepreneur like 15, 16 years ago, and it was one of the greatest changes of my life. And my mother, like for the first 5 years, said she thought that I'm jobless, right? She offered to pay my rent, because for her, like I don't earn money, that's why I'm called entrepreneur, right? And that was really quite difficult for me too, right? Because first you have to cope with all the entrepreneurship hardship, which is quite a lot, and then also what everybody else thinks of you, and even your own mother, right? So that's why I think it's very important. And one thing is, how do you actually get this notion about money is how your parents or your relatives talk about money. What is the micro gestures, the micro mimics, the voice when they talk about money? It's not, they don't have to say money's bad, but it's like the way they treat money, right?
Everything that you are saying, it calls mem, because this is how we translate единица for
one digit or a unit. Yes.
it is a unit when we create mem.
What is a mem?
Mem, this is a unit that it is about how we translate in the time this not habits, but these beliefs and these all circumstances and everything that it is, for example, our understanding after. It can be for fashion, it can be for religion, it can be for other topics in our life. It doesn't matter. And then this is already built in the society. You didn't read about this, you didn't study about this, but it is translated somehow, and you know that what is fashionable, what is not, and what is for this religion and what is not. And this is the societies are creating these memes that are staying through the time, very, very long time.
Okay.
The gestures and everything else, yes, very different things.
So I just saw that we are a bit advanced with time, but I think for me at least the discussion is extremely interesting. So I would like to excuse myself for everybody that thought it will be shorter session. We'll bit prolong it. So I think we'll be done about 9. So just for your planning.
But maybe yes, let's.
We move to the next topic right
Let's go. Maybe better.
To go where?
Because it will be too late.
No. I just the next topic
or
is,
at least to ask the people.
No. We are going. Whoever wants to stay can stay. Whoever doesn't want to stay, they don't have to stay. But here I do a like 90 degrees turn. And we already bridged a little bit. We went from the topics of where we have to prove, and now we're going a little bit to the more of the feeling and a little bit of the esoteric things.
Okay.
And I'm gonna set the topic a little bit more broad, but a little bit very adventurous. So as Yuval Noah Harari said, like basically we are algorithms. So if we basically compare ourselves to artificial intelligence, we are biological intelligence, right? And our algorithms are exactly here in these brains and DNA, but this is reproducing, and it what is the difference there, right? One is silicon, the other one is biology, but is there really a difference? And another thing is because I'm gonna go deeper into esoteric and specific topics, but like if I am, let's say I'm some small creature. I'm a cellular creature, let's say, and somebody puts me here on the floor, and I want to get to that tile there, and I start praying to God. I'm a microcellular God. My microcellular God. I'm praying to this God, right? And there's somebody that comes and picks me up because doesn't want to step on me. Let's say I'm an ant, okay? It's not microcellular, but I'm an ant. Comes here and puts me there on that tile. I'm God for the ant, right? Because I don't know what this is. This is something. I don't know what it is. And here, like setting this ground is like, for me, like going to esoterics is just things that we just cannot explain now, but we would probably can in thousands of years from now, or hundreds of years, or in 2 years from now. So that we don't have proof now. Like if we look in ancient times when there was lightning, this was Zeus like came here and throw his spear, and that was like the lightning. Now we know how it happens, but it still was there, right? So now to say esoterics is bullshit, maybe part of it is. I don't know. But to say that all of it is bullshit, I don't buy it. I think many of these things work, and I know it for myself. I do believe it. That's why I want to go to this topic. And here, I want to ask you, like, because you do a lot of practices, you will decide how deep you want to go in these. But I know about Akashic records. I know about tarot. Probably there are some others. Well, regression too, yes. And then, can you say a little bit more about that? I'm really eager to hear more.
Okay, so for the Akashic records, maybe to go, yes, because it's my favorite. Yeah. So here we are talking again about something that you cannot touch, and it's not so proven, but it is. Think about it like a very big library. Usually they explain it like this. Akasha is coming from Sanskrit, and it means ether, sky. And in fact, it is an energetic field which is keeping information for everything that is existing, including all the souls that we are and all the souls in the earth, for all our past, current, and eventual future appearance, and not only our actions, but also our thoughts and our way we are, our intentions. And it's very interesting because it's bringing really a lot of information. So everyone is connected with the Akashic records, absolutely everyone. And maybe sometimes we call them intuition or something like this. You know, sometimes something, you don't know why and from where, but you know it, you feel it, and etc. You feel sometimes deep connection with your kids, even you don't see them. You know that something is going wrong or not, or something is nice. You feel this connection with your pets. They know when you are coming home. You don't call them to the phone, but they are waiting you in front of the door far before you approach the door, and etc. So we keep this connection with the universe all the time, but we somehow are not doing this consciously. And also, due to the life we are having, we are not very much connected, let's say. But if you practice, if you want to learn, and if you do this regularly, as we discussed in the beginning for other things, everyone can do it. And of course, you have to believe. But this is like, again, something that with repetition, you can go there. And you can have and to receive a lot of information. But you have to put away a little bit your rational brain and to stop to challenge yourself that this is my imagination, these are some stupid things are coming in my mind, and etc. So you can ask questions, you can build your relationships with higher spiritual beings. Yes, you know that there are angels, archangels, and different hierarchy in the spiritual world, and etc. These are beings from lights. They are bringing only high level of vibration and light, so it's only good for your life and for yourself. So you can ask questions about your life, but it's different. Don't receive it like how to say
fortune telling. It's not fortune telling.
Yes.
So there are no glass bowls, right?
Yes, there are no glass. This is another thing. There are no glass balls.
We don't know what it is.
We are talking here just about things that you can improve for yourself, from yourself, to have understanding, to go deeper, to know better, and to find maybe better solutions for you for the future, and choices, because everything is about the choices. What we are now, it's due to all our choices we did in our lives from our birthday to now.
If you allow me just to connect here, like from my personal experience, all of the spiritual world has a very strong connection to the psychological part of ourselves. We agreed not to talk about psychology because we're not specialists in this part, and here are specialists in this part, so we are very, very careful here. But like, what
Let's say it's one step deeper.
Yeah, and it's basically everything that you can learn and see and get from Akashic records you can use through your psychology. Basically what we're talking, like there we're calling blockages.
Absolutely.
But these are things that are stopping you from being happy in your own life. So there is a great translation in how you behave, how you basically perceive the world around you. And here just the connection, when we say ego nowadays, it's always perceived as something bad. Ego is not bad. Ego was there when you were a child, and it was there to protect you from the cruel world outside, and it made you believe things just to go further, right? Just to be able to cope with it, because sometimes it's just too much. Of course, sometimes it remains with us not only till our 14th or 21st birthday, probably till our 45th birthday, as with me. And to clear these, let's say, perceptions that are different than objective world, you need some help. And one of these options, one of these alternatives is, of course, having a great therapist, but also Akashic Records helps you with these blockages to see it there, to find it. And again, you have to have your focus there. So you have the light, and you have to have the focus and discipline to work on it.
Agreed. And yes, it's very interesting. The people ask a lot of questions. We find different blockages, like you said, also, because it's not only from our birth, it's not only the child trauma, it's not only the ancestor trauma. Also, here we are finding traumas from our past lives, if you allow this to think about it in this way. Yeah. And if you believe that we are not only here and now, for this is only life, and that on energetic level we have a lot of other things experienced before, and also a lot of things to experience further.
Great.
Yeah.
For me, this was really something that I really wanted to discuss. And now I would suggest, if you're okay with this, if you have any questions, we can discuss them, and then we can call the night. Or if you want to say something else, something more.
If we will continue together, also we can continue to discuss.
At dinner, right.
Yeah. So,
any questions from the auditorium? Now is the time. There were so many before. No, you're just hungry? Okay. So then I would suggest we call the night. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you. And thank you to you.
For all these interesting topics and how things, all the things that you said. Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Ljuben, for helping out as usual and making this recording work. And then for the microphones. And yeah, have a good evening and see you at dinner.
Thank you very much. Really.
Аз ти благодаря, моля. Да просто излязахме от всякакво време и такова.
Аз исках много повече си бъда за последната тема, но спомням.
На вечеря ще седнем към мен.
Добре, слушам, изпълнявам. Маса, нали, сигурно сме си говорили.
Ще седнем към мен.
Добре.